They're constantly improving. It's constantly changing. But when we focus on His words and Him, this doesn't change the principles in life. We can't really rely on the things of this world, church, ultimately. I don't know if you saw this lawsuit, right, about Avandia. They thought it was a miracle drug that will help those who are diabetic. But they found out now that it may cause heart damage as well. The medicine that thought that this is going to cure us or help us to survive is the very medicine that might ruin our hearts. I don't know if you saw this headline recently. U.S. government infected Guatemala citizen with STD. President Obama apologizes. How would you think? How would you like it if you were relying on the government to protect you, and yet the very government started infecting you like you're a guinea pig? You can't rely on the government. If you rely on technology, and you think that our cars or our planes are getting safer and safer, well, tell that to the people who lost their life in the recent Toyota, runaway situation. That's why they have this joke now, right? Toyota, moving forward, even when you don't want to. Okay? You may say, well, I don't drive a Toyota, or, I have a Toyota, but that's not happened to me. Yeah, but tell that to the people who did, got injured or lost their loved one because their cars. How would they feel? You can't rely on technology. You say, well, I'm smart in investment. Well, a lot of people have lost lots of money during the stock market crash. My mom comes from an old school. She doesn't play stocks. She says, invest in homes, property. Well, you know what? Lots of people also lost a lot of money. They thought it's a good buy. 300,000, now they can even sell it for 100,000. A lot of people lost lots of money. What am I saying, church? You can't rely on this world. You gotta focus on Jesus and His Word, because He's the only one that doesn't change, yesterday, today, and forever. You've read this poem before, but I think I want to read this poem again because it's a good reminder. Because this is the best poem probably that summarizes or describes our current situation as a society. Here is good. We have bigger houses and smaller families. That's true probably in North America. We have more conveniences, but less time. That is so true. We have so many stuff, but we are so busy. We have more degrees, but less common sense. It's true. We have more knowledge, but less judgment. We have more expert, but more problems. We have more medicine, but less wellness. We laugh too low, drive too fast, get too angry, stay up too late, get up too tired, read too seldom, and watch TV too much. We've learned how to make a living, but not a life. We've added years to life, but not life to years. We build more computers to hold more information, but we have less communication. True again. We've cleaned up the air, but polluted the soul. True again. We've split the atom, but not our prejudice. We plan more, but accomplish less. We've learned to rush, but not to wait. So true. More kinds of food, but less nutrition. Also very true. These are the days of fancier houses, but broken homes. True in almost every single of them. This is the best description, summary of our current situation. So here's the practical question, church. If we want to focus, we need to focus on the Lord. What does it mean in the practical sense that we need to fix our eyes on Jesus? Well, we need to ask ourselves, when Jesus was on earth, what did He focus on? Of course, there are many things we can talk about, but let me just summarize in 3 things. I believe when He was on earth, all the things that He did can be summarized in 3 things. And this should be very familiar to many of us here because we just spoke about it a few weeks ago. And that is the pyramid I showed you before. It starts with the greatest command, followed by the great commandment, finally with the great commission. Or in the LIC's term that I gave you with the 3 S's, you also all know, seek God, serve others, and save the lost. The greatest command, of course, is to love God with all our heart and strength. Jesus showed that when He was in the ultimate demonstration of His love for the Father and for us also, when He was in the Garden of Gethsemane. When He finally said He knew there was a big decision coming. He knew there's going to be life and death, torturous death. And He said, Father, if this cup may pass by me, let it be. But what did He say? It is not my will, but your will be done. Church will be confronted with decisions. Are we willing? Are we focused enough to love God and say, God, I prefer to stay here, but if you really want me to move to India, your will be done, not my will. Maybe one day this church is ready to buy a building, but God says, no, give it to mission. Lord, we really want a building. We really like to have a building, but Lord, it's not our will. Your will be done. It's going to be tough. But if our eyes is focused on the Lord, that's what we need to say. Lord, we love you so much that this is our preference, but you know what? It's not about us. It's about you. So your will be done. You want us to do it? Let's go for it. The great commandment was to serve others, which is to love our neighbors. Jesus said it himself. I did not come to be served, but to serve. How did he serve others? Well, ultimately, of course, by dying on the cross. But in a practical sense, what did he do? He preached the gospel. He preached the truth. He healed the sick. He gave sight to the blind. He raised the dead. He cast out demons from those who were demonized. He taught them those who were confused and lost. He accepted sinners. He accepted those who were rejected. That's how he loved people. And as a church, we need to do the same thing. Ultimately, of course, he washed the disciples' feet. We need to be involved in any ministry that Jesus did. Never be afraid. Never say, you know what? We are this kind of denomination. We don't do that kind of thing. No, 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 no. If God did it, if Jesus did it in the Bible, and we are his disciples, then there's nothing wrong. Healing the sick, teaching, counseling them, casting out demons, whatever it is. There's no off limit. This is the Bible. We want to follow him. And lastly, he says, the Great Commission. Save the lost. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations. When Jesus came to this world, he did not create an institution. He did not create an organization. He did not even create an Ivy League seminary. He did not even create a mega church. Not that it's wrong. What did he do? He discipled a few good men. He invested his life to a few good men. So much that these men were willing to live out the vision that God gave them, even if it cost them their life. LIC, we may have great building one day. We may have great instrument one day. But are we making disciples? Are we making disciples? Are we saving the lost and making disciples out of them? Because if we're not making disciples, then we're missing the mark. Because Jesus did not here to create a mega church. He said, go and make disciples. People who will finally willing to follow Jesus all the way, live out his words, even if it cost them their life and their convenience and their comfort zone. We don't want a crowd. We want disciples. I would rather have 100 committed people, disciples of Christ, than 1,000 crowds who comes and goes, depending on the nasi kuning or not. I would rather have. And I think Jesus saw that. He built quality people. And so, church, we need to be careful in our focus. LIC, I want to end with you with this one, with a story that I heard a while ago. And the story impressed me, so I started digging out in the web about this particular story, and I think we can learn a very important lesson as we conclude. The story is about a young man named Matthew Emmons, and most of us probably do not know who he is. Matthew Emmons was born in New Jersey, and as he was growing up, he found out he has a great gift in an area that most of us don't have. And his gift is he's very accurate, he's very good in marksmanship. He's good in shooting. Okay? By the time he reached the high school, he began to win so many trophies. He won so many championships, state championships and all. He just became very good. At 17, he was already winning so many things. And so, the U.S. Olympic had an eye on him. He says, hey, we want to recruit you. So they recruited him as part of their team, and sure enough, he began to win medals after medals after medals. He just winning so many medals, and Olympic in the shooting, because he was just very good at that. He even eventually married a woman